Honey, is this thing on? Hello? Is there anybody out there? Oh, that's kind of catchy. Hey. Oh, I can dig that. Oh. Oh, now that's a really nice beat. That got me bobbing my head. Oh, yeah. Can you dig it? Reminds me back in the day when I used to shake my groove thing. Oh. Let me see. If I can catch the beat. At redress right. Hey, at redress right. Oh, at redress right. Hey, at redress right. Oh, at redress right. Hey, at redress right. Oh, at redress right. Oh, at redress right. Hey, at redress right. Oh, at redress right. Yay, at redress right. Yeah, I got it. This is he.
Hey, Brett, it's Corey from...
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Ive? Yeah, we were getting ready to send out the search party and, you know, SOSs and everything, because we're like, wait a minute, his YouTube, all of the videos on YouTube are gone. So we figured something happened, you know, but I told people that I would...
Yeah. Well, it's good to know people are looking out for me, because I'm playing around with some dangerous stuff.
Exactly. Well, some of my viewers... Huh? Yes, I'm in Puerto Rico. Yes.
Awesome.
Some of my viewers told me... Wait, say it again?
I said, go tell the IRS I said hi.
Well, you know, we're finding out some new information. We know that, as a matter of fact, we found that they put a lien on the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve System last year in October. And I told people you need... the forms and everything are online. I told the people, just type in Treasury forecloses on Fed, and you'll see the documents.
Yeah.
I told people, I said, what you need to pay attention is to not whether or not they put a lien on the Fed, they did an agricultural lien. I said, you need to pay attention to the fact that they just validated everybody else doing this previously. When people were doing the commercial liens, the Treasury just showed them, and I told them they showed you exactly how to do it. But this is how they list themselves. The United States Department of the Treasury, 1789.
You know what?
Yes.
That is amazing, because I just came to a new realization of why my ID has given me just such power. I mean, because I'm doing the same thing. So the Department of the Treasury, 1789.
That's the legal name for that particular entity. Not the one in Washington. No, this one is in Maryland.
Right. Yeah.
No, wait.
I want to know who.
Are you using the ID that you put on your video, the first video you did, where you showed people how you sent it into the court?
Yes, I'm using my ID basically, well, the one that I sent into the court doesn't have the date on it.
Okay.
To create that one. The one that I use to go wherever I want, it's the first one I ever made. Well, I can send you, in fact, I'm near my computer, so.
I would definitely love to see that. Do you have it up on your site?
I don't have that ID up, but I did just post a video on YouTube on how to make a common law ID, and you can go to the directions down below.
Do me a favor, send me the link to the video in the email, and I will post the video and I will send people to your site, because I have a lot of people asking. See, I created my own ID, and I have a sample on the website, and mine literally says, now it says, non-citizen national travel permit.
Now, here's what I did.
Yes.
I put my head in as if I was in 1851. And what is available in 1851 to deal with the problems that we have here in So if I were to be able to go have a time machine and go grab a business owner, some guy who's intelligent and
I like that.
20 or 30 employees, the guy's going to know how to run a business. I'm going to go grab him with my time machine and bring him to 2012 and say, hey, help me with this.
Yes, help me produce this.
Yeah, help me figure out what's going on. And my goal is to protect my freedom and my liberty and my treasure. Well, with lots of research and really contemplating it a lot, I realized that the birth certificate is government property. And so I've gone through it. Apparently, I'm allowed to sign on behalf of this government property. I have a power of attorney that says that I can. I filed a UCC-1 financing statement that I have a security interest in this government property. And as long as I don't identify myself as government property, and I do all of my contracts really clean, because that's something in 1851, I'm telling you, all they talked about was contract act. Everything was contract.
Well, I like the angle, and I am 100% telling you that I fully get it, and that's the way my mind has been thinking. I've been telling people, why aren't we doing promissory notes? Promissory notes predates their so-called financial laws. So why don't we do it the way they did it before? And I keep telling this to people, we need to quit doing things the way things are done today. And so to hear you say this, it's exactly what I've been telling people.
Right. Now, I went back. I've been looking at old newspaper articles and trying to get my head, like, really get wrapped around what happened in 1879 when California had a new constitution, which is now declared one of the worst constitutions in the world. It's exactly what you don't want to have happen. Well, the Constitution of 1849 represents a jurisdiction, and that jurisdiction still exists. The Constitution of 1879 represents a new jurisdiction, but that jurisdiction exists. It's purely voluntary. The jurisdiction of 1849 is a birthright, and the jurisdiction of 1879 is voluntary. In other words, you have to sign up for it. You can't be born into it.
Gotcha.
The way you sign up for it is your signature. So I went through, I've cleared every signature I can find with government, every single one. I went and terminated the signature with the DMV. I've done it with Social Security. I went in and changed my contract with Social Security, made sure I identified myself properly, and my signature shows that. Even all the way down to hunting licenses, anything that ever deals with the birth certificate in the government, I've gone back and corrected the mistakes that I've made on my signature. And since I've done that, and I have had zero trouble. In fact, I've been dealing with this stuff in L.A., and I went up to court, because I don't know how court works. I went up to court and went to an assistant presiding judge's out there, and he sent me a couple of letters. Went up to his courtroom, unannounced, uninvited. The guy came out and spent 15 minutes talking to me.
Really?
He sent me multiple letters, yeah.
I like this.
I've really come to a new understanding that if you go back to 1851, if we were to be able to transport all the California residents today back to 1851, they would have the exact same problems that they have today. People would go to jail for stuff that is not a crime, that we wouldn't consider a crime, and it's all because of the words they're using. And our entire public education system has brainwashed America into using certain words.
Certain words. You're absolutely right.
And that's all the problem is. I'm using different words, and my friends look at me like I'm missing a tooth. Some people went with me to L.A. because they're like, no, you're going to end up getting arrested, dude. You don't have a driver's license. You're doing all this stuff, and you're going to walk right into court. How are you, first off, how are you even going to get into court with no ID? And they watch me walk up, show them my ID. They check me out, no doubt. It's not like they just wave you through. But I'm treated very respectfully, and then they just let me in the courts. I went right up to the judge's courtroom. I So it's not a courtroom, it's a department?
Yes, in California, there are departments.
Exactly. And then had a great conversation with him. Now, I know I'm the problem because the judge was so careful about the words he used.
Yes.
That I know I didn't get everything that he said, and I certainly didn't get accomplished what I wanted to have happen. But one thing I did get from the judge was that they are 100% on my side. In other words, they really hope that this works because I get the feeling they don't like doing what they have to do.
You know what? And I get the feeling that they're tired of doing it too. And I keep telling people they're not doing anything to us. Everything they're doing is exactly what they're required to do, and they don't want to do it. That's why you could see the frustration in their face.
Absolutely. It was like, holy mackerel, you guys aren't the problem.
They are not. And I've been trying to get people to understand that. You know.
Right. Yeah, there was a lady who has a radio show out here, and she heard about all the oaths and stuff that I've been pulling. And she's on this kick to try and get all these judges put in jail, and she wants me to go on her radio show and really bag on the judges. And I'm thinking, especially after meeting them, I had several judges, because I went to the wrong courtroom. I had several judges come out, and they all treated me magnificently. I don't know how else to word it other than, like, I can't believe how well I was treated. I've never been treated that good in court before.
No.
Certainly never had that.
I fully get it, and that's what I've been trying to accomplish. Honestly, I've been trying to accomplish getting the judges to talk to me like they were talking to you, to have a conversation and not a debate. I had one judge do it, one judge, but he was a magistrate and a justice of the peace court. No other judge has ever taken the opportunity because I've always gone in there thinking that they were the enemy. And once you have that enemy concept in your head, you'll accomplish nothing with the court.
You're absolutely right.
And that's been my problem.
Yeah. And I've really gotten, to me, I feel like I've gotten a much better understanding of the way our government was set up. And I look at the executive branch now and some of the quotes and things like what George Washington said about whether or not people will be able to keep it. There were a lot of discussions about people being able to keep the government the way we had it.
Yes.
And, they designed the executive branch of the government to be psychotic. And I now believe they did that on purpose. But the one thing they failed to realize is how stupid the American people could become.
You know what? When you say that, I'm going to tell you this is what I understood. I'm going to tell you that was something that came about later to dumb down the American public. That wasn't the initial goal. And when you say that, I don't believe that they ever foresaw that the people would be this naive.
Yeah. These were people who lived through taking off the king. They were farmers,
But see, they also knew the law. And they all knew the phrase, the law. And so they would be able to tell you, no, you can't do that because the law says this, the law says. They all knew. It was common knowledge. Not like today where they have laws and talk about ignorance of the law. That's why in those days it was an ignorant thing to not know the law because it was common knowledge.
Exactly. And it was kind of like the golden rule.
Yes.
And back then, if you entered into a contract, you had to honor the contract.
Yes.
Contracts were such a big deal that they eliminated the possibility of anybody having a problem with contracts moving forward by putting in there that the state may not impair the obligation of a contract.
Exactly.
You know what? I have to email you a document. The LA District Attorney's Office has investigators that are operating without an oath.
Yes, and most of the judges are operating in California without an oath.
I found so far that every judge that I've come in contact with and I've went to order his oath, I found it on file.
And the dates are correct?
The dates are correct on the oath. I've not had any problem other than a commissioner who's not a judge claiming to be a judge. And his oath, of course, is not filed because commissioners don't put their oaths in the same place as the judge.
Exactly.
And so that was my whole crux of my federal mail fraud complaint was that I don't care what these guys say there's no provision in law that says he's not allowed to have an oath on file, and there's no provision in law that allows him to say he's going to take an oath as a judge. So he's not allowed to send out a bill using U.S. postal money for postage.
You're absolutely right. Because he doesn't have the authority to do so, and he's committing mail fraud. He's committing commerce. There's so many other laws that he violates, especially by asking for money. He's committing so many different frauds.
Exactly, and it's not necessarily him.
No, the system. The system. Sorry.
Right, but I had to go after him personally, and so far it's worked out. The whole deal with the mail fraud complaint is now a mute issue because they're not doing it anymore, and that was my goal.
Excelente, to change the system.
Not go after the one individual guy, because nobody's going to like a traffic court commissioner. I can't imagine how difficult it is. I would never want to do that job. And so I feel kind of bad going after the guy the way I did, but it ended up working out properly, and I was able to disengage with him with achieving my goal, and that is changing the system and not necessarily putting him in jail, because it's not personal.
You know, that's what I'm attempting to accomplish here. It's just changing the system. I'm not trying to send judges off to jail or police officers off to jail. Police officers have not bothered me. Matter of fact, they've always treated me with respect, with the exception of 2 incidents in Los Angeles. But other than that, I've been treated with respect by every one of them. And the ones that don't treat me with respect, I just go to their supervisor and get him to correct their attitude.
Exactly.
So it's just judges. I got to quit thinking of them as being mentally, subconsciously the enemy, because it's a subconscious thing. It's not a physical thing where I actually believe that, but it is definitely subconscious.
Right. Well, here's something. Take this or leave it. For me, it really helped a lot.
Yes.
There's a video on YouTube called The Seems Theory of Everything. And
wait, it seems what? What is it called?
Theory of Everything.
Okay, I'll just type in the theory of everything, and that should help me pull it up.
Perfect. Yeah. And the first one is a themes, and it's really talking about quantum physics and stuff. And there's been a huge change in science in the last 20 years. And what he's speaking to in the first 10 minutes of that video is speaking to old generation of scientists who are fighting with new generation, because the old generation of scientists are saying, wait a minute, I can touch this table. I know it's here. The new generation of scientists are saying, no, you only think it's here. It's
exactly.
only potentially here. So there's a huge problem with scientists who have deeply held beliefs and that they're not able to move forward. So that video talks about that. Well, that I applied it to myself, and that every time I feel frustration or anger, it's a fight or flight response that I had. And it's because the deeply held belief was being challenged. And once I've kind of really embraced that whole concept of recognizing certain emotions that are coming up and determining, is this a deeply held belief that's being challenged, and that's why I feel this way? Or do I really need to pay attention to what's going on with this fight or flight response? And that has helped me immeasurably. I know it has nothing to do with law, and it's something totally separate.
Well, no, it has everything to do with law, because it's how we perceive things. And you're talking about exactly that, our perception. And we hold on to things that we don't need to hold on to. I'll give you an analogy somebody gave me a while ago. There was a bear. He went into someone's house, big, huge pot of porridge cooking on the stove, and so he decides he wants some porridge. Now the pot is almost to a boil, and so he reaches and wraps his arms around this pot, and he lifts it up, and he realizes it's too hot because he's smelling burning fur, so he lets it go. And so, but he still wants some porridge, so he grabs it again, and he's going to hold on to it real tight. He's going to get him some porridge, but now he's smelling more burning fur, and so he drops it back down on the wood that it's on. So he grabs it one more time, and now it's burning even more. And the object and the moral of that is simply let it go. We hold on to things so tight that we end up getting arthritis and paralysis because we refuse to let it go. So no, it has everything to do with the law. Because we have to look at the law a little bit differently. Yeah.
We have to look at the law for what it is. Their job in government is to really not change certain things. There's certain fundamentals that do not change.
Yeah.
The people completely change. The government's not allowed to do it. And what I see happening now is that these forces that are, very powerful. I just refer to them generally as like Rockefeller or whatever. That level of force within our society has been able to virtually hypnotize the American people into running right off of a cliff. and I tell you, I've had such phenomenal success with engaging in law enforcement. I just got back 2 weeks ago from the Constitutional Sheriff's Convention in Las Vegas. The second time I was invited there. And Sheriff Loby up in Northern California, had a great conversation with him, and he's got some real problems going on in his county where he's trying to take on the federal government. And he's now open to having me meet with some of his constituents and helping them to be able to communicate with him better so he can protect them.
You know what? That is the point right there. That is what we all should be doing. You, me, and everybody else who's part of anything like this. We should be helping the people communicate with the government officials because they don't know how. And the way they're articulating what they're trying to say, it's not being perceived. Even with the judges, it's not being perceived. Everybody is looking at it as if they're adversaries.
Exactly. And we do have, what's confusing is we do have an adversarial form of government.
Yes.
But now with my new perception, it's kind of like I'm playing an adversarial game with somebody. And we have a couple of game pieces. I'm trying to hurt his game piece. He's trying to hurt mine. And I'm trying to get as many points as possible the entire time through. But we're not trying to hurt each other physically. We're just playing a game.
I guess Rodney King was a little bit brighter than what everybody else perceived. Because I do think it is an issue of us getting along. Just simply getting along.
It really is. I mean, the Orange County Sheriffs, I can't tell you what a fan I am of the Orange County Sheriffs. I'm a member of Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers have kind of like an official position that Andrew Hutchins is not a constitutional sheriff. But every time I get in my car and I go to work, I'm riding on the Constitution. The only thing that keeps me out of jail is the Constitution. And these sheriffs have been fantastic. I mean, I don't know how else to put it other than I'm a huge fan.
Now, what?
So if you use the right words, and I believe we can really turn this whole country around in no time.
Well, I tell you what. Now, you don't know this, and everybody else, most people who know me know this. All calls to my phone, it automatically records because of the software, because I'm always calling government officers. And so, you mind if I put this conversation on the net?
Yeah, I have no problem putting it on the net. Can I listen to it? And maybe if there's anything that I put in there that I'd rather have to leave it out, would you mind?
Oh, yes, because
put it up and then send me a link to it. I'll listen to it.
Okay.
And then,
yeah, I have no problem with that. It's just that there are some things that you said that if it came from me, it sounds better coming from someone else. That's the only reason why. You know, but yes, most definitely. And it won't be up until probably sometime tomorrow, so I'll give you a call. And I'll put it up private at first. Okay?
Perfect.
Okay. But yes, there's some things that you...
Said anything that I would need to worry about. Like, there's nothing with names or
anything. Exactly. And that's the point. Yeah, we didn't talk about any specifics, and that's why I wanted to ask that question of you. But I will go and I will listen to the audio. And if there is anything where there's a name, like you mentioned a couple of sheriff's names, and so if there's an issue with that, if it is necessary for them not to be a part of it, because you mentioned judges, but you didn't mention any names. So what I'll do is when it comes to a sheriff's name, I will edit that out.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, because I have a program.
I want to protect these guys. I want them to know that I really appreciate what they're doing, and I want to support them as much as possible, because they're helping me.
If you didn't, then you put them in jeopardy, and then they will be of no other help to you or other use to you. So, no, I fully get it. I fully get it. These are assets.
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. our country is built from the bottom up. In other words, all the supreme political power is at the local level with the sheriff. But what's happening is, even the sheriffs don't know this language, and I was able to start a conversation at the sheriff's convention because some sheriffs on their badges, on the emblems on their shoulders,
yes,
would say sheriff's department. But other sheriffs came in where it said sheriff's
office. Exactly.
And I was able to explain the difference between the two.
An office and a department, yes. I tell people that all the time about security guards and security officers. Tell them there's a very big difference between the two. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it did some thinking. And the sheriff's office has the supreme political power, not the sheriff's department.
Exactly.
The sheriff's department is where they can get all their trouble from if they're not doing their job correctly.
Yes.
So, as the people, we can release the sheriff's office of having to enforce the sheriff's department's laws on us by speaking correctly. And now they're just police officers who we can hang out with, and they're there to protect.
Now, wait, what do you mean? I understand when you're saying language, but see, I'm one of those people, I know some of the language, but I don't know the language. I know legalese, I know English, I know all of the stuff not to say when I go, but we don't know what to say. See, we know what not to say, but we don't know what to say because there's nobody out there teaching us what to say. So where is the best place for somebody to get such a language?
There's no books out there, and it's something that is so simple that trying to explain it becomes very laborious.
Well, see, in order for me to grasp it, that's what I need.
The sheriff's department, anytime you see department, think Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Office, and this is a rule of thumb, this is how I operate, a rule of thumb. If you see office, then you're looking at local government. And, for example, I got a letter from the general counsel from Superior Court of California in the County of Orange. And I want to find out who that guy really is. What's his real position in government? I know he's the chief general counsel, but that's a made-up thing for the Washington, D.C. portion of government. I want to know what it is if I were in 1851 and I were talking to this guy. What position would he really hold? So I went and got his oath, and it turns out he's just a clerk of the court. Oh, it is. But he wears two hats.
Yeah.
So when I deal with him, I'm going to make sure that whatever words I use, he has to put his clerk's hat on, and never let him put his attorney hat on.
Okay, so here's the question.
That's an example.
What words would you avoid using with such a man?
First name, last name, state of California, birth date, date of birth.
I got you. Things that speak to the corporation, speak to the contracts.
Exactly. I own a contract. I'm domiciled in the state of California since 1949, and there's no way that can ever be converted to a 14th Amendment person.
And
so as long as I'm in the state of California, 1879 is a 14th Amendment person, and I can prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, even with the executive orders from the governor. He straight up says that it's a 14th Amendment person.
Yes.
For the state of California, 1879. But 1849, that jurisdiction exists. It's just nobody's there. And if you want to go there, there's no welfare. There's nothing.
You mean utopia? I'm sorry. I get it. I get it fully because we're coming to understand something quite simple. What was brought to me, I can't go into details, no, because I can cut this part out. I can mention this part to you, and then give me 1 second to look at the time. Okay, 28 minutes. I'll stop it at 28:40. What we're finding out is that the Treasury, if you look at its symbol, 13 stars. Why does it have 13 stars in the Treasury?
I'm guessing the 13 colonies.
The 13 colonies. And we're believing that the United States government is the 13 colonies. The actual United States and the Constitution is applicable to the 13 colonies only, and not to the so-called other states who were added later. We're thinking...
I would agree with you 100% there. I would throw one other observation.
Yes.
I personally would say that I think I could demonstrate that any states that came into the Union after those 13 colonies, in other words, the 13 colonies represent the original jurisdiction.
Yes.
But any states that came in after those would be a party to that Constitution. You'd have the same rights, like for instance, California of 1849. It would apply, but symbolically, it could never change from the original 13 colonies.
Exactly. And California's Constitution, the 1849, is applicable to the people of California.
Right. And then we have a business arrangement that with these other 13 colonies, that we're going to work together. We're going to have commerce
exactly,
together,
that you're able to contract.
And we're also going to have common defense.
There you go.
And that's what it is. Now, after the Civil War, the only thing that came into the Union are the 14th Amendment states, which is just a made-up Washington, D.C. fairy tale
Yes.
that everybody believes. And the fact is just two people agreeing on something. So, as far as me, like defending my freedom, I do it based on documents, and all based on everything prior to the Civil War. Anything after the Civil War only applies to Washington, D.C., and that's not where I'm at.
I got you. And you know what? That actually makes sense, because the Civil War wasn't in fact civil at all. It had everything to do with the contracts that were out there.
Absolutely. It was all about contracts and debt and taxes.
Lincoln said it best when he did the greenbacks. He said it best when he introduced the greenbacks, because he talked about his ability to produce, because he tried to go to other nations and get them to lend the money and they refused, so he went ahead and created his own currency. And he said it best. So I'm right there with you in understanding that everything prior to that is what we should be focused on and not the stuff that happened afterwards.
Yeah, all the stuff that happened after the Civil War was just like a Band-Aid. And, I mean, I found a case where, habeas corpus had been suspended.
Yes.
And we're talking like 1873, I think, is when
yes.
this happened, when they redid it. So the only reason why Congress did habeas corpus is because somebody was going to the Supreme Court and saying, hey, we need to get rid of the Reconstruction Act because you're eliminating habeas corpus. And that's unconstitutional. So Congress got together really quick, changed the Reconstruction Act, and reinstituted habeas corpus before the Supreme Court could hear it. And once they reinstituted habeas corpus, the entire issue was moot, so the Reconstruction Act was able to stay in play, which gave Congress just dictatorial power over Congress, and then dictatorial power over anybody who wanted to join their new system.
Exactly.
Of course, they're not going to want to change it. So what you have to do is just not join the system.
Well, see, for me, I'm on Social Security, and without Social Security, I'm on Social Security, and without it,
right.
It would be very difficult to operate within this scheme. But I have done the rescission.
A different way to perceive that.
Yes.
Your birth certificate qualifies for Social Security.
Okay.
But I don't believe there's any way possible that you could be a person on your birth certificate.
Oh, God, no.
That person is completely incompetent.
Oh, you better believe it, because that person only has a last name. He doesn't have anything else.
That person is purely property.
Yes.
So, like for instance, I've got a lot of effort that I put into this system, so I have Social Security credit. I want to preserve that as much as possible. What I've done is I made sure that I still can extract those benefits. In other words, I want all the benefits of our good government. I just don't want any of the responsibility.
I get you.
So what I do is I just set up all my paperwork to where I can still extract benefits. I mean, I was on food stamps for a while.
Got you.
You know, while I was learning this, I was still able to go in and, you know, apply for the food stamps normal and everything. It's just all based on your paperwork. If you ever went to court to say, you know, you earned more money than you really said, I'd be able to go back and say, well, I wasn't me you were dealing with. I don't get food stamps. Here's my ID. Is this the person that gets food stamps?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, what do you want? And that's how I conduct business. I treat the birth certificate what it is an individual corporation.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. And there's no way you can be an individual corporation. Now, you want to be careful and make sure you are, you know, you keep your qualifications and everything. But even the IRS now, because I have IRS debt that I've been dealing with, they've completely backed off, and we conduct business as if I'm the agent. It even says on there that I'm an authorized agent for this account.
There you go. And that's all you are as an authorized agent.
That's it. That's all I am. It says it on my Social Security application or on the Social Security application, everything. And so you can keep all of your benefits. It's just maintain your competency for a while.
Got you.
And that is all through contracts.
And that's exactly the point. Even with the Sesta KV trust issue, it's all about your status and your standing, that you are competent. Now, this is what we're finding out. You know how people go in there and say, I'm a living, breathing, I'm flesh and blood and all of that? Well, when you get a chance, please look up that Treasury lien, because there are some noticeable things that they did in that document, and it goes to everything that you've been saying. Do you know that they put that they have 2 arms and 2 legs? Because the corporation doesn't have arms and legs. And just little nuances like that to explain that they are an actual living, breathing person without saying the words living, breathing person.
Yeah.
Like I said, they told us everything in that filing.
You know, sometime I shouldn't, let you listen to somehow let you listen to an audio. I've really guarded it because I recorded this. One, it's the recording of my arrest, and you can hear all the words I was using were correct. I can defend it in law and everything, but never once did I ever even mention the birth certificate. I never even said I had a relation to the birth certificate at all.
Got you.
They asked me who I was, and I described that. And it prevented them from being able to write citation, which is why they arrested me and took me in. Well, as soon as they handed the citation to me, I signed it without ever saying, like, they go, will you sign this? And I said, I don't know. When you present it to me, I'll look at it and see if I can. And so they go, okay, well, we'll present it to you. And he presented it to me, and they had me handcuffed, and one arm was hanging up real high. And I went, oh, I can sign this, and I just signed it real quick as the agent of the person who was being charged.
Exactly.
And the cops even said, they go, wow, that's quite a signature. And I said, well, that's my signature for that document. They let me go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I'm only saying that because that's what I just did. I was in an accident here in Puerto Rico where it appears somebody cut me off. I was on a scooter, and so I don't remember anything that happened. All I remembered is waking up riding the scooter. Okay? And a lot of cuts and bruises happened a month ago yesterday. But the police gave me 3 tickets. Yeah, I'm okay. I got a big concussion, and it's actually affected my vision so much that the concussion, because it was right over my left eye, so it has affected my vision, especially with fatigue. I already had muscular dystrophy, so with fatigue, my vision is horrible. I can barely see, and it has nothing to do with glasses. It's just the eyes. They don't dilate like they're supposed to. But it's okay. I'm working through that, and that's going to be okay. The unique thing is they gave me 3 tickets. Okay, one of them was driving without registration, the other one was driving without insurance, and I forgot what the other ticket was. Now, I just bought the scooter. I told them first, I got 30 days in which to process any paperwork regarding this particular item. I said, but don't worry about it. And I signed every one. My signature includes without recourse and reservation of rights always. So when I signed it, I wrote them back. As a matter of fact, I have to send a letter back to them because the post office returned it to me. I sent them 2 letters, one certified and this one. And the unique thing is I told them, I said, no, and they speak Spanish, so I wrote them in English, and I said, every time your officers approach me, there has to be someone who speaks to me in English, no translator. And told them that is my right. But when I communicated this to them, I said, it would be interesting if you all want to pursue this, because I would love to see the officer who witnessed the accident. I would love to see his affidavit. And I'd also love to see why he waited 30 minutes and never called in for backup or assistance or any ambulatory help for me at all, that I had to call someone to pick me up to take me to the hospital. And I'd also love to see the officer who saw me traveling on the highway, who said that I was engaging in commerce. I would love to see that. Go ahead.
Do you have a driver's license?
I have a driver's license from California, but I don't use it. I've already rescinded that driver's license.
Oh, you did? Okay. So
Yes.
did you get confirmation that that signature was terminated?
No, they never sent me confirmation. Nobody has ever sent me confirmation that the signature was terminated. But I do have the certified letters, certified numbers for the letters that I sent them.
Oh, okay. Stay on that, because I actually got confirmation back from them that my account, I got a letter back. I can send you a copy of that letter.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, and I would stay on, because if you can either do a Public Records Act request and get a copy of the letter that you sent to them to show that they have it, or get them to acknowledge that they've closed the account.
Okay.
Because the driver's license is one of the huge things that makes you binding as a 14th Amendment person. In California, on the back of the Form DL-44, it says, I recognize my lawful presence in the United States. Well, you have to look at the California code
Presence.
to find out how they're defining the United States.
Yes.
And California Commercial Code 9307H defines the United States as being located in Washington, D.C.
In D.C.,
So
yes.
what you're doing is you're changing your legal status to being in Washington, D.C. And that is ancient common law practice of pledging. And so once you've pledged, you have to make a political distinction to withdraw that pledge. And I did that. I made sure, like you can hear on my video or my audio. I'll share it with you. I just don't want to make it public.
Okay, I won't make it public. You have my word.
But great. I'll send you a link of where you can listen to that. It's on a private page on my website.
I appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah, what I think is really cool about that is hearing how I was successful, at least I term it a success, how I was successful on dealing with the sheriffs on this issue. You'll hear the words that I used and things. I never had to get, all it was is I just stuck with who I am. I don't care about anything else that's going on, what the birth certificate says, nothing. That has nothing to do with me. This is who I am.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and I know I can rely on that because I have made the political distinction of rescinding that pledge, and that goes back to ancient Roman times, pledging for benefits, government benefits. And I believe that's what they're doing today. So to me, it was really important to make sure that signature is absolutely terminated on the Social Security application. When I say terminated, I mean, with Social Security, all I did was correct a mistake. And I put the signature in unqualified when the mistake was it needed to be a qualified signature. And then with the state of California, the L-24, man, I just straight up terminated that completely. So there's just no license at all.
Okay.
The effect of that has been when somebody runs in the Cal, I think is what it's called, the IT system for the state of California.
Yes.
My picture doesn't show up. It's just a blank spot. And that's kind of neat. The Orange County Sheriff's at first they came up with, they're like, even during my arrest on the audio hearing, they say, well, his picture didn't come through, but all his horsepower matches. And when he said horsepower, I meant like height, weight, age, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so those are some of the things of making sure you stick with. The number one thing to me is that political distinction of terminating that pledge. That pledge is a solemn promise. In other words, if you were not a Roman citizen a long time ago, and you're walking down the road, and a Roman soldier comes up behind you, just for whatever reason doesn't like you, he can just cut your head off and stab you in the back, do anything they want. In fact, that's how Archimedes met his death. But if you pledged yourself as a Roman citizen, the theory was the soldier could still come up and kill you, but if it was later determined that your property was valuable, the soldier could be punished for it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's how governments work. And our government is really the same way. In other words, when they created this ability to free the slaves through the Emancipation Proclamation, it's all voluntary. But they weren't really free. They just went from being property of somebody in one of the several states to government property. And now if you go and beat one of the slaves, you will be charged with a commercial crime for beating government property.
Yes, exactly.
Just extended that out to everyone. And so getting that political distinction cleared up, rather than pledging yourself to where now government serves men, is just so critical. And I try and that's the number one thing for me to preach, for lack of a better word, is clear up your signatures first.
Gotcha.
Before trying to accomplish anything. That's my thoughts. But.
Yeah, what I did was a generic way of clearing up the signature. I just rescinded all signatures, any and all signatures associated with the account, and sent it to the various agencies. So I did a letter of rescission, but I sent it to the various agencies, 9 of them that I could think of at the time, and all certified mail, and that was done in February. Now, the only confirmation that I've received is the way I've been treated by certain judges, and the way my paperwork has been received, and when the police officers were dealing with me, how they
legal redress. Commission. The 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 legal redress.
This is how we do it.
You a fool. You are an idiot.